Hello, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me yet again for another interesting session. Rather, this is one session that I have been looking forward to for a very, very long time with a very interesting expert into various holistic modalities all combined together. She is just all, powerhouse of knowledge in physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health. So, hi, Jennifer, I think I can see you there. You will have to send me a join request. So that would happen if you just click onto my profile picture and then you'll get a notification there to join in. Okay. In the meantime, I'll just introduce Jennifer. Jennifer is an international lifestyle and health expert. She is immersed in cutting edge nutrition and a known plant-based chef who has also been a cast member at Master Chef for Fox TV. Jennifer is a spiritual thought leader with deep interest in ancient fitness using yoga. She is a serial entrepreneur and builds programs in health coaching, lifestyle change, and mentoring programs and training programs also for the trainers. She is a former Ford model and founder of Purposeful Ventures, which is a company that is helping women succeed in revitalizing their life, relationships, business, and health. So I guess I'll be waiting for Jennifer to join in and, take us through her profile and help us understand a lot about health and wellness. I have a lot to ask her. So, Jennifer, if are there any concerns, if you could just drop me a message and let me know because I'm still awaiting your joining request. You will have to go to my profile, follow it, and then click on my profile picture. From there, you'll get the option to send out the request to me for joining. Okay. In the meantime, let me just talk about what this session is going to be all about. So Jennifer has a lot to speak about, a lot of lot of things about health and in all the areas that we're talking about, but we'll try sticking to our topic, which is more about how can we attain beauty from inside out, which is one of my favorite topics also. But I guess Jennifer is a thought leader into that field, and she has been practicing raw and living food nutrition for a very long time, and she's also a great proponent for yoga as well. So okay, technical issues for Jennifer to join in. Okay, let me just try dropping her a message if there is any issue joining the live. Okay, so we'll wait for Jennifer to come in and help us understand her understanding of a lot of things from the health and wellness perspective. So I'll be there for another minute or so. I'll just see if if Jennifer is able to join us. If not, then I'll log off. I'll try helping her out and then I'll join back again. So I look forward to being there with us and stay with us because this is a very, very interesting session. So I don't see the note. Okay. So guys, I will log out and I will join back. Okay. Jennifer is there. Okay. Hey, hi, Jennifer. Good
Hi.
morning.
Hey, good morning.
How are you?
Very, very
So
well. Thank you.
good,
Hello.
good, great. Thank you so much for being there. I have been looking forward to connect with you for a very, very long time. Since the time I started listening to you, and I really became a big fan of yours, whether it is Beauty Inside Out or whether it is holistic health or whether it is yoga, and you are a powerhouse of a lot of holistic knowledge for sure. So
So
I have
thank
a lot to, yeah. So there's a lot that I need to ask you. I mean, I think one session is not enough for me, but I'll try sticking to my topic today, which is more about beauty and all. But before we move ahead, please help us understand about yourself.
Sure. I just want to, can you hear me all right? Is everything okay with the sound?
Yes, yes,
Okay,
that's all perfect.
great, great. Well, I'm delighted to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me. I have been on a quest to find the answers to health and the truth about health for the last 27 years. Literally
Wow.
all over the globe, including India, China, all over Asia, Europe. It's just been this quest for me, and it's never ending because the more I learn, the more I realize there is to learn.
Exactly. And that shows in your experience for sure. The more I listen to you, I mean, it's, with every session, there's something new to learn for sure.
So much to learn, and I'm even learning still today and experiment. But I've had a lot of issues. I think what's led me to my quest is having a lot of skin issues. I used to have, really big cysts all over my face,
Hmm.
uh, adult acne. They thought I had leukemia as a little girl, but I had osteomyelitis, which is a
Okay.
bone infection, and
Hmm.
treated with antibiotics in a wheelchair. So I spent a lot of my early adulthood and early childhood very sick, in and out of the doctor's office, in and out of the hospital, and it was just no fun. So
Hmm.
I came to the conclusion very early on, if you're not healthy, life isn't worth living. It's just
True.
no, I can't serve, I can't be a great wife, I can't be a great mom, I can't be a great entrepreneur. It's just impossible. So everything starts from there. And the solutions are actually right in front of us. But we sometimes forget or we get distracted, by our desires, for
Exactly.
things like sugar
And
and
simple laziness. I would rather also want to add that because it's simple laziness also. We know a lot of people know a lot of things, but it's simple laziness. We just don't have that courage to just get up and start doing the right things.
right. And it's like this kind of sabotage that goes on. And it's unfortunate, especially for our children.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
most importantly.
Great. So, Jennifer, just to take on the conversation forward, I will ask my first question to you, which is, you know, since I started listening to you and I came across, the content that you keep talking about. So, what I realize you have really been an industry leader in the forefront of propagating the idea that beauty begins from within, and it's equal focus on physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health all in one. Only when you are in alignment with all these four areas is where you actually start to become ageless, whether it is your skin health or your hair health or your body. Yeah. So
Yeah, well
just
done.
help us understand this concept really nicely.
That's a big question. It's a really big question because
Mm-hmm.
I have a very strong religious background, and that has turned into a theological background. And I have to say that the Indian Vedic systems are a huge part of my development and
Mm-hmm.
evolution. And so I have a huge and deep respect and reverence from the knowledge that comes from the Vedas. When we look at the separation or the non-separation, the duality, the non-duality, the oneness of all that is,
Mm-hmm.
um, this is the truth, the oneness of all that is. And
Right.
it's very macro for a second, but that is the basis of it. I also was brought up with the ideology. My mother used to always say, beauty is as beauty does. Beauty comes from the inside out. She would
Mm-hmm.
always repeat these things to me because it's not beautiful if I'm, breaking down or I'm being rude or I'm disrespectful.
Right.
Those things.
Exactly.
But I think that got ingrained into my brain. And the more
Okay.
I thought about what she was saying, the more I lived into it, the more I realized it was right. Because I was a Ford model. I modeled professionally for many, many years, traveled all over the
Mm-hmm.
world doing that. And it also proved to me that my pictures would turn out better. I would be more successful. I would get hired more frequently when I was in a good space inside of myself. So that means
Mm-hmm.
managing emotions, learning how to not get stuck inside of a loop of negativity or
Right.
needing to write or just getting totally absorbed with my mind, because I am not my mind. I am not my thoughts. I had to
That
take some distance from my thoughts, which yoga really taught me,
exactly.
sutras, to become the seer of the scene. So I had
Mm-hmm.
to start looking at what was going on inside of my mind and my heart and my emotions and get those things organized. And I was noticing that my pictures were turning out more, were beautiful, and I was getting more success.
Wow.
I was getting, things were happening in my career that I couldn't explain with just a new blush color or,
Okay.
an eyelash lift. It was so
Mm-hmm.
much, it was an internal awareness of what
Mm-hmm.
was going on. And oftentimes I was just being a brat, or I was being, like my irreverent adolescent, or, these things were
Mm-hmm.
going on. So I had to really do an internal check. And then the more I learned about nutrition, the more I realized that the outward skin is just a reflection of my internal organ integrity.
Mm-hmm.
So I was learning about gut health, and I was learning about how I could improve my large intestine and small intestine and the inner
Mm-hmm.
organs and the elasticity and the tonification of the skin of those organs internally.
Okay.
And the more I focused on the cleansing and the integrity of those organs, the better my skin was looking.
Okay.
And there are all these different biomes, right? We talk about, we
Right.
hear biome, but the biome is
Right.
gut. It's also on the skin come to pass.
Skin. That's
Yeah.
true.
And so the more I learned about, oh, I need to massage my colon. I need to be sure that I'm having full bowel movements every day, at least once.
Mm-hmm.
I need to be aware of the texture and the odor and all of these things. And I started to really
Right.
understand that the outward skin is just a reflection of the inward emotional weather and the integrity of my organs.
Right. And I must say, you just initially mentioned that you have been really driven by the Vedic knowledge. And the way you are putting across things, we can actually sense that, it's coming from a very spiritual space for sure. Okay. So, Jennifer, I guess again, in continuation to what you just mentioned, since you come from a very core modeling industry and from the glamour world, which is all about external beauty and which just it's all about making sure that your beauty or the way you look and feel is all taken care of by these small little options that the modern world has to offer to us. Being into that kind of an environment, how could you manage to do all that inner work to keep yourself ageless? So, another way of putting this question across, what is your secret of agelessness?
You are what you think you are.
That's true. That's true.
The real truth of it is about acceptance
Hmm.
and forgiveness. And I know that sounds a little strange, but it's actually true. The more I can embrace myself
Right.
every day, the less resistance I have, the the better I feel, the better I look, the better it seems. Now, I do think genetics has something to do with it. I do. I mean, I really, I can't just say, I mean, I have a beautiful grandmother. She aged, really, really well, but she also took care of herself. Uh,
Yes. It's both ways.
yeah, she loved to dance and she ate whole foods and she just enjoyed life. And I think joy is a big part of this. I mean, all the
Right.
work that we have, all of the things that we're just so concerned about all the time, like that really, really drains you. So you can tell on your skin if you've been dehydrated, not drinking enough water. You can tell
Right.
on your skin if you've been eating too much cooked food. You can tell the way you wake up in the morning if you've been drinking alcohol or you've had too much sugar or flour the day before. You can tell if you're not exercising, the kind of, if you're overeating or if you're not exercising, you can see the skin
Right.
start to get like a little placid. If you are really upset about something, you'll start to get these wrinkles around your eyes
Hmm.
and the dark circle. So your face is going to tell the story of your emotional landscape. And so it's
Right.
important that we all, take responsibility for what's happening internally. So I think the secret is really sleep. I know it's such a
Yeah.
simple thing. Sleep is so important.
Important.
Sleep
Yes.
and hydration are really important, but so is sweating and just making sure that the cells are rejuvenating themselves in a healthy way. So your cells are dying and being reborn every second of the day. And if you
Hmm.
can set the rebirth of your cells up for integrity, like DNA, your DNA has integrity. It doesn't mutate into cancer or some other disease
Hmm.
process. Then you're going to be aging gracefully. So how do you
Right.
set cells for a healthy proliferation? And that is, it's not complex because we just have to follow nature's law. We're
Exactly.
far away from that. So you have to sleep well, you have to hydrate well, you have to breathe deeply, you have to sweat, you have to move your body. So these are like
All the
four.
basics of life. All the
Yes,
basics of life.
yes. And you have to kind of,
Yeah.
change it up a little, right? Make sure you have some
Right.
minerals in your body. You're not eating
Right.
minerals. Make sure that you're doing different exercises, like maybe you're
Hmm.
hiking this week, or maybe you're practicing a lot of yoga, or
Right.
maybe you're dancing more, or
Hmm.
what it is. You have to constantly be kind of challenging yourself and expanding things.
That's nice. And I'm so glad, Jennifer, that you brought in that point and really joined the dots beautifully because, this is one concept we are trying to bring in as a part of our brand also, which is about, beauty inside out, where it starts with the physical and ends somewhere in the spiritual. So, it shows on the outside, rather, I would put it across like this, but it starts somewhere at the spiritual level. How deeply are you connected with your own self? And It's just those layers transcended above the topmost layer, which is the physical, which starts to show everything which is happening at the deeper layers. So, but you've really put it nicely where we can actually join the dots and understand, whether it is sleep, whether it is foods, whether it is exercising or breathing, how everything comes together when it comes to being ageless.
Yeah. Go ahead. There's a really important
Yeah.
key movement practice.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I've noticed with a lot of people that I work with, and they're just checking exercise off the list. Like, I got to get it done. Here's my 45
Yeah. Right.
And I would say that one of the pivotal things for me has been emotionally engaged movement practice. So that whether I'm going through a yoga asana sequence or
Mm-hmm.
I'm walking down the street, like, am I really all there? Am I really fully present? Am I really excavating? Because I believe that our movement practice is an opportunity to move things out of the body because it gets
Right.
stored in our cells, it gets stored in our fascia. So if
Right.
we can really start to connect emotionally when we're exercising. It is so
Mm-hmm.
powerful. Secrets I've learned actually in the last only 5 or 6 years, even though I've been
Wow.
practicing yoga for 27 years and I've been on
Mm-hmm.
this for almost 30. I mean, this is one of the biggest keys is emotionally engaged movement practice. And it is,
Exactly. Conscious movement.
yes, it's really, really powerful.
So I guess my next question is related to what you just mentioned, Jennifer, which is about, beauty. If I have to just put it across in two words, it's all about clean internal body state and a free-flowing body and mind, right?
Yeah.
Things are
Yeah, it's funny because people ask me all the time, like, if you could summarize all of your knowledge and expertise in one word, what would it be? And I think it would be circulation. So when you
hmm
say flowing, that's that. So
Yes, exactly.
you need circulation in your skin, massaging your
Right,
skin, oil every day,
right,
dry brushing your skin. That's circulation.
right,
Then there's different circulation, deeper, deeper inside, right? Where you
right, right,
have muscles that need to move. You have your heart that needs to pump. So we have these microcirculations in our capillary density. So we have all these different kinds of circulations. You have your nasal passageways, the neti pot. You
hmm
have the breathing techniques to work with the stomach muscles, the bandhas.
wow.
You have all
hmm
these different ways to circulate, all these different fires to attend to. The fire in the mind, the fire in the heart,
Right.
the fire in the belly.
Right. And I'm just loving the way you're putting it across because, it's the modern science coming together with those age-old ancient concepts of yoga bandhas coming in and those typical specific modern movements coming in, which is just amazing. So this is one thing actually I just loved about you since I've been listening to you. But coming back to my question, but from the modern perspective, how a normal woman today looks at her beauty is more about from the external perspective. So it's beauty for a modern woman today is more about glamour, it's more about cosmetics, it's about chemical based skincare products or maybe salon treatments, slimming centers, or worst still, it's about Botox treatments, right? So as per your experience, help us understand the real approach to beauty. We understand is completely opposite of how we understand it today in today's times, and you being a strong proponent of a raw living diet along with yogic practices and a lifestyle and a compassionate heart and a happy and joyous mind, which we can sense with whatever you have been speaking right now. How would you help such women understand, like, everything starts within. It's a very superficial way of looking at things from the outside when you just focus on cosmetics or salon treatments or slimming centers or Botox treatments.
Someone asked me yesterday something similar, like, how did I dodge that Botox bullet? How come I'm not
Mm-hmm.
using things? And um, I have a very strong sense of what not being healthy looks like, as I said earlier on. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm scared of putting chemicals in my body because I'm scared of what's going to happen. Because that's not what nature intended. So it starts really in your heart about what it is you want to accept about yourself and what
Right.
you feel that you can own. And there's nothing more amazing than, sometimes I'll be in Los Angeles and I'll see a woman walk in and she might be 50 or 70 pounds overweight, right? But she's
Mm-hmm.
she's so beautiful, and it's because she's owning it. She's like
Right.
really owning her beauty, and it's a presence. It's not
Mm-hmm.
about her butt lift or her cheek implant because there's so much plastic surgery in LA. It's
Right.
real.
Mm-hmm. I know. And that's why did put across this question because, it's all about superficial stuff that we actually relate to beauty in today's times, which is actually not.
And well, we have to really accept ourselves, and it's been a journey for me. I don't know about for you, but I didn't grow up loving myself. I grew up,
Hmm.
hating myself. I grew up not liking what I saw in the mirror. Even though my mother would tell me I was beautiful and I was a model, it took me a long time. So I think we have to really get honest with ourselves.
Right.
And we surround ourselves with people who can love and accept us. I mean, I'll never forget when my husband, I'm divorced now, but when he said to me, like, oh, a woman without a belly is not a real woman. And
Oh.
I'll never forget how I
Hmm.
felt at that. It was like, oh, I'm allowed to have a little bit of a belly. Like I can actually let my breath out and exhale.
That's such a breather. That's such a breather, for
So
sure.
I think it's also
Mhm.
about, the people around you. I wish it weren't that way, but for me, it's
Yeah.
been that. And
No, no, I think I agree to what you say. And
it's a,
then,
go ahead.
yeah, so, again, I'll go back to the same point that it all starts from spirituality and your own connect with your own self. That's where self-acceptance and whatever you're saying starts to happen to you.
Yeah, and I think that it's not unnatural for us to look in the mirror and say, oh, look, this skin is actually looking a little bit drab. And
Hmm.
then what's the next question? It's not necessarily going to the beauty salon, but it's like,
Hmm.
what can I do proactively to look to address this? Or,
Right.
oh, I used to have these huge spots. And I thought, oh, my hormones are off. Why do I have these melasmas all over my face? They were getting worse and worse and
Okay.
worse. And I was like, so what it did was it had me get curious. How can I
Hmm.
help? I went to my facialist. I went to my esthetician, and she
Hmm.
gave me heal, and then she gave me vitamin C. And then I did some more research, and I was like, oh,
Hmm.
these harsh chemicals that I'm using on my skin are actually causing the melasma, because I noticed on her face she was full of melasma. She was full of these
Okay.
branches. And so then I got even more curious. Why do we get it? And then I started to research it. And I thought, oh, there's a biome in my skin. I am raping it. I am gravely disrupting the biome in my skin. How do I rebuild the biome in my skin? And then I
Hmm.
looked at that and I thought, oh my goodness, this is out of my comfort zone. Like, what if I get my acne back? Everything goes to, hell? Like, I was like really nervous, and so I had to keep trying, and the melasma went away. It's never come back. I
Wow.
tried a new way of honoring the biome of my skin. I have no age spots anymore. And so it's just constantly getting curious. No
Right.
one has the answer but you. No one can save you but you. And we have the responsibility to look in the mirror, to look inside of our hearts, and to get really honest, curious, and always come from love.
Yeah, that's very well said because it all starts from you, I guess. It all starts from deeper than us.
It
Yeah.
does, and we do need maybe we do need to go to the esthetician.
Hmm.
Maybe she has wisdom. Maybe we need to go to our grandmother or our sister or our, whomever, because I've had so many people that I've learned from, and you get little bits of the puzzle,
Right. Right.
keep putting it together,
Right.
and we will age, and gravity
Yeah.
is a thing, and it's not. I mean, it's just normal. What
Exactly.
is seeing somebody who's 75 who looks like 40? I mean, it's incredible. I've been looking at it lately, and I'm like, wow, like this is a whole new era of plastic surgery. That's just is fascinating to me, but it concerns me because it's really
Yeah,
against anything that's against life is not really going to be graced by the hand of God.
that's true. That's right. So, Jennifer, coming on to my next question, I'll be talking about foods now because I guess that's your strongest area, and you
Oh,
are a wonderful chef. I have been following some of your recipes, and they're just amazing. A lot to learn, of course, but some of them, as a part of my education, I'm trying to follow. Okay, but coming on to my question, beyond the modern understanding of diet, which is more about knowing your proteins, knowing your calories and carbohydrates, and then the macro and micro nutrients basically. Do you think it is high time for us to start looking beyond these macro and micronutrients and start focusing on the catalysts which bring about change in the body, something like hormones, something like oxygen, phytonutrients, enzymes, probiotics, or at the deepest most level, the life force of the food or the pranic power of the foods? What would you say about that?
well, I agree with you. I mean, that's my personal interest is the pranic power of foods. I love how you.
Right. And I guess again that goes back to the yogic understanding of things to
Yeah,
quite an extent. Yeah.
right. I mean that
Right.
that's what I'm personally interested in. But I think it's important that everyone is where they are, and it's perfect. And when I say that, it means that it's not wrong to look at macro and micronutrients. It's interesting.
Hmm.
It will teach you something. I've looked at it. I have a
Hmm.
master's, bachelor's degree in nutrition. There was a time where I was very interested in macro and micronutrients, especially
Hmm.
micro. So that is important. What is a protein? What is a carbohydrate? Because if you don't really know those basic things, it's hard to go to the next level. It's
That's
hard.
true.
So it's like, so you do need to kind of understand what a carbohydrate is. Like pasta is a
Hmm.
carbohydrate, rice is a carbohydrate, but so is kale, and so are
Yes.
fruits. But not all carbohydrates are created equally.
Hmm. Right.
But about fiber in carbohydrates. So it is important to, I think, understand where we are and accept where we are.
So it's
Um,
something like a building block, and on top of it, we build the other catalyst factors that we're talking about, right?
yeah, and everyone's a little different. Like there's some people who like to balance their checkbook. They know every
Hmm.
single and dollar that they spend, or rupee,
Right.
they know every single one. And there are other people who are just like, well, intuitively, they know they've got X amount, and then they
Hmm.
count track of it in their mind.
Hmm.
And they're
Right.
kinds of people. And the people who love to balance their checkbook love to like count calories and grams of fat and, macro, micro.
That's true.
And
Right.
that's,
But I guess I'll get on to my next question related to this only. Please carry on, because this is one important question that I would want to ask, which is more about, how we look at foods. I mean, we were never meant to count the foods that we are eating. Like, when human evolution happened, we were not meant to count whatever is going in inside our body. So, where did that transition actually started to happen when we moved from the real way of eating to getting onto more counting way of eating?
well, I think we got neurotic. we,
True.
we tried to control nature, which is impossible.
Right.
Again,
Right.
I think we've gotten away from our natural inclination of reading our own hunger and reading our own somatic intelligence. Because if you'll notice if for women who are listening, when you're in your moon cycle, you're in your menstruation, you crave
Mhm.
different foods before your menstruation starts, during your menstruation, and after your menstruation. And that is specifically because you need different nutrients. So we've gotten away, I believe, from really honoring what we need. Not from
Right.
like, I'm emotionally upset and I need ice cream. So there's a difference.
So that's the understanding that is there today.
Yeah. So the
Exactly.
between what my tongue wants and and what actually my body needs. Like I did a
Right.
20-mile hike in a 2-day period, and it was a very rough hike. Mud and cliffs and rock climbing, and my
Hmm.
body was hungry. It was a totally different kind of hunger. And I'm like, wow, that's interesting. So you have to
Hmm.
these fires, like I was talking about, in your mind, in your heart, and in your belly, and you have to
Right.
find what they are, and you have to also question yourself. But it is really important to understand that, and I think we all know this, that phytonutrients are going to bring more light into your body. They're
Right.
going to bring more nutrients into your body. And when we can think about nutrient density, this is a key factor in having beautiful skin, in having exquisite energy, waking up feeling vital in the
Hmm.
morning, deeply at night. So plants and a plant-based diet are definitely going to bring that. There's really no research that's going to say anything other than that. So we know,
Right.
and they're good because they have phytonutrients, nutrients that are captured by the sun in the leaves of the plant that are then prepared perfectly, packaged perfectly for the human body to consume and nourish cells for that healthy cellular proliferation that we were speaking about.
Yeah, exactly. So, it seems like an irony also. Look at maybe n number of researchers that keep coming from different perspectives, by different names. Ultimately, the concept boils down to plant-based diet. Like, like if you talk of alkaline diet, if you talk of life force diet, whatever, it's ultimately different names, but ultimately the solution or the root of attaining it still remains the same, which is a plant-based diet. So the simple is so solution is so simple. It's everything is just building on top of that.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then we talk about the combinations and then how much of which, like
Yeah.
dal, I'm feeling a little bit not as great as if I eat an abundance of greens with some dal. If I eat, 3 cups of rice, it's going to feel different than if I had a half a cup of rice.
Right.
It's also about the balance. It's also about oils. I think oils are really important to be aware of.
Mhm.
A lot of people are eating way too much vegetable oil. A lot of people. I mean, I ghee is really
I
really
agree.
And
Exactly.
so, there's a whole, I've named a new kind of vegan. It's called a geegan.
Hmm. That's your own term?
Yeah, a geegan, I
Oh,
call it.
that's nice.
Vegans
Okay.
that eat tea.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. But I think I would want to point out one thing here. Like, if we look at India, we are the diabetic capital of the world. And next to that is inflammation. It's almost, as common as diabetes. And if I have to look at the cooking styles in the Indian scenario, even though we come from the place where Ayurveda actually happens, still oil is something that we are quite possessive about. Just a thought of giving up oils, the wrong ones, and introducing the right ones is something that doesn't set in very easily as a part of our culture. It needs a lot of education and awareness to tell people, okay, move on to the real sources of fats rather than having this from refined oils or, store available oils.
It is the key to a pain-free life. It is the key to beautiful skin. It is the
Yeah.
key to longevity as well, and a healthy gut. What's so great about ghee is that there's the butyric acid in it,
Hmm.
and cells in the colon need that butyric acid to function optimally. And
Right.
but there are so many benefits, especially if you can get a fermented one, you can get a
Hmm.
high quality one that's made from high quality, butter and cream. So it's really an important thing to be aware of. I mean, if we aren't willing to get rid of canola oil and some of the other refined oils in our diet, we won't be able to achieve that shine, that glow.
Right.
It'll fog up our cells. It'll make it difficult for toxins to get out, nutrients to get in, and so it's kind of a mess. Uh,
No, no,
so
definitely. I agree to that. And we can definitely see that in the way, the health that specifically for a lot of people who get into their late 30s and 40s and 50s start to have those stiff body aches and pains and all these, the base for these chronic conditions start to happen very early in our Indian scenario. Of course, there's a lot of awareness happening, but still, for the ones who've actually lived this way of including a lot of wrong foods, that suffering shows almost in each and every household. So, Jennifer, again, my next question, which is related to the topic that we were talking about, you are also a plant-based culinary chef and an amazing one I just mentioned previously. When it comes to taking care of our skin and hair and even weight concerns or body, from the beauty perspective specifically, or an ageless persona, why do you think raw and living foods way of life is the cutting edge approach for being ageless? I mean, there are different kinds of diets, fat diets, protein diet, calorie counted diet, keto diet, but why these fads are or the plant-based diet is different from these fads and the only permanent solution to being ageless?
hmm, that's a good question. The answer is simple. It's about
Hmm.
vitality,
Life
and
force, prana.
it is because the
Yeah.
the microgreens and sprouted foods are liberated, and
Hmm.
they contain a high density of nutrients. So if you look at one broccoli sprout or a sunflower seed sprout versus the actual sunflower seed, so you have two options, right? You can eat the sunflower seed or you can eat the sunflower sprout. Now,
Hmm.
they're both very healthy for you. And one is really concentrated, and the sprout is extremely concentrated too, but in a different way. It has the
Hmm.
concentration of the potentiality of the seed. It is the
Okay.
seed in its potentiality. It's growing to then again create thousands of seeds. So when you think about
Right.
sunflower, like it starts with a sprout, and then in a few months it grows and it has this huge, huge head
Yes. Right.
inside of it. It's going to have 1,000. So the potentiality of that sprout is 1,000 times. Well, I'm exaggerating. It's actually
Hmm.
30 to 40% more. Um, but
Hmm.
but but it can create 1,000 of those seeds from one sprout.
One single sprout. Yeah.
And so when you're eating that level of vitality, you're eating that level of aliveness, you're
Hmm.
bringing it back to life. You soak and sprout your lentils before you cook them. You eat sprouted grains and seeds and nuts. When you're bringing the vitality back into the food and you're consuming that food, it's giving you more vitality. It's giving you more energy. So it's setting you up for a higher immune response. You're not going to get the diseases that you would normally invite with aging.
Right.
You're going to keep your cellular integrity, so your organs are not going to you're not going to disintegrate at the same rate as somebody who's eating a lot of cooked food, a lot of oils and sugar and flour and alcohol. So you're just going to set yourself up for success because your body is totally resilient. It's
Hmm.
extraordinary what happens with our bodies. We just have to know how to set our bodies up for success. And so when you eat
Right.
living foods, now, and I also want to mention here that, only living foods can cause stagnation. It can also cause problems with digestion.
Okay.
So, I believe, for me at least, I need a little bit of cooked food as well. Like, not fried food, but, braised, steamed
Right.
food. So like, I
I
do.
agree to that, and I guess this is again the same understanding coming from the Ayurveda perspective also. Like, Ayurveda is more about cooking foods, but those cooking styles are really different of what we are actually practicing right now in our Indian household. It's a different way. That's altogether a different topic though. But the whole idea is only raw. Of course, I understand from the energetic perspective. If we look at it, it's more of that cooling energy getting into your body, and
Exactly.
your digestion needs heat to work well.
It does. It does. And that goes back to spices. So,
Right.
um, eat raw and living foods, but I believe that the Indian and the Ayurvedic spices are even more important than the foods that we're eating. Unfortunately, here in the West, we don't use enough of them, but the ginger,
Spices. Yeah.
cumin, they are so, so, so important. The jeera, the haldi, it's so,
Mhm.
so important. Mustard seeds for your liver. I mean, it goes
Right.
on and on. So fenugreek, the spices that we're using, fennel, are so critical. And so the more spices we can use, I think the healthier our bodies become. I'm a
Yeah.
firm believer in that. Even just plant, the greens from the fenugreek seeds, right? Sprouted fenugreek is extraordinary. You guys know that. You guys are eating
Yeah.
it's called meti.
We are eating it, we know that, but we don't know how potentially, healthy it is. Like, for me also that awareness happened when I got deeper into studying all of what I'm doing right now and starting listening to you and other experts into the same field. But, it's of course it's a part of our heritage, it's part of our culture. But we follow it as a part of culture. I mean, what are the potential health benefits coming out of it is something that we still need to come raise to that level. And if we start understanding it, of course, the way we cook, the way we eat is definitely going to change. But it's more driven from the rituals and culture rather than from the place of knowing and understanding how these things work.
Got it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
understand. Sense. But if you want beautiful skin, you've got to eat food that brings you vitality. You have to eat the foods that are alive, foods that
Right.
so soak your foods that are dehydrated, soak them before you eat them, and then
Hmm.
bring the life back into them. Because any food that you're eating that's taking the energy away from you, like sugar, flour, alcohol, that is taking your energy. It's taking more energy to digest. It's taking more energy to assimilate. So you want to be eating foods that are giving you energy, not taking energy away from you. So
Right.
really, taking flour and sugar and alcohol from your life is going to make a huge difference in your
Phenomenal. It's
and
exactly.
your energy.
Exactly. That's right. And so, just adding on to that, rather, I have a question for you on that front. Like you just mentioned about ghee, right? On a plant-based diet, do you think, like, do you use ghee? And on a plant-based diet, do you think it's okay to have ghee? Because what we are talking of here on a plant-based diet is more about trying to get your fats and oils from these natural sources, like the seeds or even the like avocado or vegetables which have their own small little amounts of fats. So when it comes to you, when you are practicing it as a part of your culinary practice, or from the nutritional perspective, how do you make sure that while being on a plant-based diet, the nutritional component is complete? Just to clarify my question further, like if we look at the modern way of eating, we are counting everything. We have to take these many grams of proteins, this much carbs, and these many micronutrients, which is a very complicated way of looking at foods. But I do understand when we get onto more of raw and living foods, we are kind of liberated. We don't get need to get onto that pattern of understanding things because these basics are already taken care of. Now we are transcending beyond this understanding and going more towards phytonutrients and oxygen and the concepts that we just discussed. So, but from again, scientifically, from a nutritional perspective, do you think having a plant-based diet is complete in its own sense when it comes to having different nutrients, consuming different nutrients from these foods only, or
I,
supplementation is required?
I think that you do you well I do believe supplementation is required, but
Mhm.
I do also think it's complete on its own. So the answer,
Oh, okay. So you will have to explain us then. Then both the
yes.
things are true.
Um,
Yeah.
you can be plant-based and be really unhealthy. So
Mm-hmm.
just being plant-based is not adequate as I am healthy now. Like, so
Mm-hmm.
for me, a rule of thumb is eating a variety of fruits and vegetables that are in
Mm-hmm.
season. This
Okay.
is very, very important. So I'm not
Right.
only potatoes. I'm not only eating, zucchini. So you have to eat a
Mm-hmm.
variety of foods. If you're eating a variety of foods, then you are going to be fine.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't really expect your body to perform if you're just kind of mono dieting, which for some people is difficult because it's complicated for them to get a bunch of things and figure out how to make them all. Um,
Exactly.
Another rule of thumb is eating a lot of green foods. You are
Mm-hmm.
never going to be deprived of nutrients if you're eating a ton of green foods like kale, collards, whatever greens you can find.
Mm-hmm.
Peas, it's so, so important. There's never been a protein deficiency that we've ever heard of in the history of any vegetarian culture, society.
Exactly. That's my next question, which is a very important question.
There's never
Breaking the myth on protein.
It's just never happened. It's not going to happen if you're eating a variety of vegetables. It should not be a concern whatsoever, even though it's become a concern with the fad dieting of keto
Yeah.
and paleo diets. You get
Right.
from lentils, you get tons of protein from mushrooms, you get tons of protein from different grains. It is really, when you get into the science of it, is really a non-issue. So if you're concerned about protein, find out how much protein are in the foods. And protein is not a one-to-one. It's not like if I eat 1 gram, I'm getting 1 gram. No, your
Mm-hmm.
body actually, there are essential and non-essential amino acids that
Right.
make up protein. And so we are actually protein making machines. So we need to be sure we're getting the essential amino acids,
Mm-hmm.
and so we can build protein. And so we're going to build protein if we're getting enough variety in our plant-based diet. I also believe we need supplementation because our soil is no longer really intact. Unless
Mm-hmm.
you're growing your own fruits and vegetables, and you can ensure that the soil has the macro and micronutrients that it needs, and that it's a healthy soil with very richly mineralized, which no farmer is going to do because it's just too expensive.
Right.
Can't say no, but very few.
So, which means growing your own foods it's a very good idea. Even if you're doing some few microgreens is
Yeah,
far more better than holding all these fancy foods from everywhere.
exactly. So in that case, we need micronutrients. We need the
Mm-hmm.
minerals. So that's why I believe we do need supplementation. So if we're just going to
Mm-hmm.
be what the farmers grow, going to the store, we do need to give our bodies those minerals. And
Mm-hmm.
minerals are going to build beautiful skin. If you want beautiful,
Right.
absolutely need minerals that your body can absorb. So if we are deficient in minerals, we don't have the building blocks to build beautiful collagen-rich skin with very
Right.
strong connective tissue. So we need sea minerals, we need rock minerals, not necessarily rocks, but
Mm-hmm.
we need minerals in our bodies to build calcium, to have healthy bones, to have healthy teeth, to have healthy eyes. We have to
Right.
have all of.
Right.
And so if you're on a plant-based diet and you're not eating ghee, you also need vitamin B12. So
Okay.
if you are strict vegan, you absolutely need B12 in your gut, which is a bacteria that
Mm-hmm.
grows. So eating ghee, you're going to be developing that. But if you're not eating ghee, you're not going to have it. So
Okay. So, what is this thought about, like having sauerkraut or these fermented foods, and your
I,
B12 needs are taken care of?
uh,
What's your take on that?
I don't know if it's true,
Okay.
but I do know people that have really lost their minds from being vegan for too long without supplementing.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it can be quite dangerous if you are committed to
Okay.
vegan 40 years and you don't take a B12 supplement, and your sauerkraut
Yeah.
might not. So I don't know. I have no evidence I've heard it, and I would love
Mm-hmm.
to believe it, but I just
Mm-hmm.
don't know if it's true because I work
Okay.
with physicians and doctors and nurses who are constantly looking at blood work and analyzing functional blood work, and
Mm-hmm.
haven't gotten confirmation on that concept yet. I've gotten
Okay.
confirmation different concepts around vitamin D and vitamin B complex and other
Mm-hmm.
things, but that particular one I don't have confirmation on yet. But I'd love to believe
Okay.
it. And I do eat a
Mm,
lot of fermented foods. I love them.
yeah. So, I'm sure you must be on supplementation also, specifically for B12, right?
I take B12. I take systemic enzymes. These
Mm-hmm.
are not very popular, but they should be. Systemic enzymes
I'm
are
sure in future for sure.
Yeah, systemic
Yeah.
enzymes clean the blood. They go in, and actually excess protein can be a huge problem for developing cancer. But protease
Mm-hmm.
is the enzyme in systemic enzymes. So high levels of protease, when you take them,
Mm-hmm.
go in and scavenge pathogens that cause
Okay.
disease, viruses. They go in and scavenge excess protein that can be the building blocks of cancer cells. It goes in and really cleans the body. So those enzymes are taken on an empty stomach. And I take
Okay.
a lot of systemic enzymes, both in the morning and at night on an empty stomach. So they're not the same as digestive enzymes. Completely
Okay.
different. They're enzymes,
Okay.
a different thing. I also take turmeric. I take
Mm-hmm.
turmeric either powdered or fresh juice. We got some beautiful turmeric. This is
So
this.
which one would you recommend is a better idea? Having it in a powdered form or in the fresh juiced form, like
Well, the prana is higher in fresh
in the
juice.
fresh one? Yes.
Yeah, but not everyone has a juicer. But you can
Right.
also grate it and then squeeze the juice. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
honestly, as much as you can get into your body, it's great. So you can chop it up and ferment it and eat it. You can shave it. You can grate it,
Yes.
put it in a tea.
Or
You can,
maybe make your latte out of it, or
yeah. I
yeah.
mean, well, during the Navaratri restorative cleanse that I was doing,
Oh
just of
wow, that's nice. You're aware of Navratras, which is good to know.
course, oh my God,
Oh, nice.
taking up to like 3 tablespoons a day of the powder,
Mm-hmm.
like it is so incredible what it does for you. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I go through phases where I'm taking a lot of Haldane, and there's other phases where I'm taking a lot less. But I do take turmeric as a part of my daily life.
Wow, that's nice.
Yeah, and I take some Chinese herbs as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I take, what else do I take? Those are kind of the main ones I take. Vitamin B12. I take royal jelly sometimes. Royal jelly
Mm-hmm.
is ordinary for your
Okay.
skin. I can really tell when I'm on it or I'm off of it with my skin. It's a royal jelly,
Okay.
spectacular. I mean, it's literally what they use to like protect the queen bee, right? So I haven't figured
Okay.
all of the details. Anyway, I could go on and on, but those are kind of some of the basic ones I take.
Okay, perfect. So, Jennifer, my last question on foods is going to be specifically from the nutrients perspective. What are those specific nutrients that anybody needs on a regular daily basis to make sure that the skin health doesn't get, is at its peak capacity? And which are the foods from where we can regularly get such kind of nutrients?
Well, we need vitamin A, we need vitamin C, we need vitamin A, we need vitamin D. We
Hmm.
need, a good amount. We need potassium, we need magnesium. We need a variety of nutrients that are found in abundance in plants.
Hmm.
But some of the best beauty foods are going to be, seeds, such as
Hmm.
and flax seeds. These are the glow foods. These are the
Oh,
foods that
wow.
make your skin glow. Sunflower seeds, so that the smaller seeds are better. Pumpkin seeds, and then moving
Hmm.
into, of course, almonds are so rich in vitamin E,
Hmm.
and walnuts, which are rich in omega-3 fatty acids that really make your skin glow, help you to lose weight. My clients who
Hmm.
don't eat nuts don't lose weight as fast as those who are eating walnuts and almonds. So it is
Okay.
it and it seems counterintuitive because they have a lot of calories, but
Hmm.
it's about the good fats that you're eating and how it burns the white fat that we're
And I guess it also fulfills you at a level where you don't feel all those cravings because most of the times we pile up weight because of those unwanted cravings that happen to us.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the other foods, of course, that are so hydrating are critical for beautiful skin. And they're not necessarily nutrient rich in vitamin
Hmm.
C or E or K, but cucumbers are so hydrating. And
Right.
they have a specific kind of hydration that really goes in peppers, red peppers especially, not so much green peppers, but red peppers, yellow
Red
peppers.
peppers, okay.
Yeah, red peppers really go into to hydrate the skin. And even when you cut a pepper, it kind of looks like skin.
Yeah.
You can
Is
see
it
that.
because of the phytonutrients that we're talking about?
Well, the beta carotenes, of course, in those are extra.
Yeah.
The hydration is so
Hmm.
key. Watermelon is not the season for us for watermelon right now, but watermelon has
Yeah.
natural silica occurring in it, which creates beautiful, beautiful skin. So those are just some hydrating foods. And then, of
Hmm.
course, look at the colors of your foods. That's going to be a great indicator to know that the foods you're eating are going to have a lot of phytonutrients in them. So colorful
Hmm.
foods. Right now, squash. We're eating a lot of watermelon radishes.
Hmm.
Radishes are so good, mostly because they contain sulfur, which is going to
Right.
skin as well become beautiful. But that's not really, a vitamin per se, right?
Mm-hmm.
Silica and sulfur and those kinds of things aren't
Yeah.
necessarily vitamins, but they're essential nutrients that we need to build beautiful skin. And then, of course, as I said earlier, the abundance of greens. I think you can't
Right.
go wrong when you're eating a ton of salad, microgreens, sprouts,
Mm-hmm.
braised greens.
That in itself sounds so, the feeling is so vitality, full of vitality, just by, listening to these names that you're talking about, microgreens and seeds and activated foods, and
It should
it's
be
it's, it's just amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, use the spices, use the techniques that because it should be delicious, right? So just
Yeah.
find out how you can make these things taste amazingly delicious so that you are
And I
just like,
think I really would love to follow you even more, and specifically your, the culinary side of you. And I would really request all of our listeners also to go and check out your page and wherever your YouTube channel, and wherever you're speaking about all these things. It's just phenomenal. Each of your session is so powerful. I cannot emphasize enough on that.
so much.
Yeah. Okay, so I think I'm done with my food questions. I'll move on to yoga now, because you are also a very strong proponent of yoga, and it really brings a lot of joy to me when I see people like you who are actually realize the power of how powerful yoga is. I mean, it comes from the Indian origin, but it's being so beautifully taken or being practiced by a lot of Westerners, and being imbibed as a part of their lifestyle, and being very what do you call, full of vitality, being practicing all these practices. So what I would want to know is, how did your yoga journey start at all? Because I guess you got into yoga years before, when yoga was it wasn't a very common man thing. It was a very niche kind of a practice. So how did you got exposure to yoga, one? And secondly, how has yoga contributed to how you look and feel at this point in time today?
Yeah, so I got into yoga when I lived in New York City, when I was a model, and
Okay.
I found it really challenging to live in New York City.
Hmm.
It was very draining, and I went to the gym then, and I was, doing my upper body one day and my lower body
Hmm.
the next. Worked with my
Okay.
personal. So they had a yoga class at the gym,
Hmm.
and I took it, and I was very competitive, and I thought, I've been working out every day for years, and I can't do any of these things, and so I was really kind of angry at myself, and I was
Okay.
competitive, and it was so funny
Okay.
looking back because that's so not the point of yoga.
But I guess that was the beginning of what you are today. So I guess everything is acceptance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so I would say that yoga is everything I've become and everything I'm becoming. It
Hmm.
really, yes, my childhood has shaped me, but I would say yoga is by far the most important thing that I've ever done, practiced in my entire life. I met my teacher when I moved to Switzerland, and
Hmm.
he just moved from India, from Pune to
Hmm.
Switzerland. I'll be practicing with him still. He's in India right now. I
Okay.
still practice with him 22 years.
Wow. Wow. So you've been to India ever?
Yes, I've been to Pune.
Oh, okay.
Unfortunately, only Pune, but yeah, I've been to India to study
Okay.
yoga from the masters, and
Hmm.
because what I do is really traditional yoga. It's not
Yes,
westernized.
exactly. So this is again one thing that I really loved about you, because yoga, the traditional way of yoga is completely different of how we look at yoga today. It's alignment of, again, physical, mental, emotional, and spirituality all coming together when you practice it the right way. So, and you have that essence. I mean, if I look at your videos and whatever you post on your Instagram also, we
It's
can see that essence that we're talking about here.
Yeah, it's the ultimate lifestyle medicine
Yeah,
protocol. It's
yeah,
it's 8 limbs, and it is the system that achieves liberation, Kavalya,
right,
in human life, and it's perfect. It's incredible. I mean, the system of yoga and the Patanjali Yoga Sutra is really outlined as a mathematical formula how to do it.
right,
I mean, it's not
right.
easy. You should like annihilate your attachment to life. Well, I mean, like that's not that easy.
I know. No, but I guess you have to understand that in the right context. Like, for each person, the application may vary person to person. But the whole idea is picking up the concept and starting to apply it to your own life.
Yes, and they're also universal truths.
Yes.
I can do so much with my mind.
Hmm.
Um, and at the end, when you practice for so many years now, if I'm not practicing pranayama, I'm not really practicing yoga. If I'm not practicing ahimsa, I'm not really practicing yoga.
Mm-hmm.
There are all of these aspects of each of the limbs that we need to be practicing in order to be, a yogi. But yoga, yoga is, clearing the samskaras. It's clearing the imprints in
Right.
my fascia, right? So we're holding in our cells, holding memory in the fabric of our bodies.
Mm-hmm.
And so if we can use the movement practice, right, here in this case, asana, then we can clear that. So we don't have to go into a whole like framework, psychotherapy, we don't need to go into all of that. We can really do the asana, twist in the asana, twist it out, like align, lengthen, elongate, strengthen. So you have alignment in your body. And for us, alignment equals enlightenment. So if we can align our bodies, then our lives are going to get ironed out. Like we're ironing out our fascia, things will automatically happen. And that's been my experience. Practicing yoga asana in a way that is traditional, aligned, is full of integrity. You're going to have that more in your life, in your relationships, in your cells. So the
Right.
justice with us first, the justice of ourselves with our bodies, the honesty. And then we can have justice with our neighbors. We can have justice with our husbands. We can have
Exactly.
justice with communities. And that's where world peace stems from. It's from right there in your heart. And in the yoga asana practice definitely helps that. And the whole practicing then again, the whole system, the 8 limbs of yoga, Ashtanga yoga, that is going to help you if you're really interested. Not everyone's called to study it, but I have.
Mm-hmm.
It has brought me so much abundance, and not only financially, but as a mother. It has been the best friend of mine when I've been in low times, when I've been in high times, when I've been healthy, when I've been ill. It is medicine.
Right. So I would really want to compliment you there. I mean, you so beautifully put this across. I mean, for a person, somebody who's studying yoga and these concepts of sanskars and all that, that comes in, and for once it becomes really difficult to understand what does this mean, because this is something very subtle aspect of you which we are not directly related to. But if I just join the dots, connecting it to how traditional Chinese medicine looks at the body, where each emotion has a connect with your organs, and you hold that specific negative or positive emotions in that specific part of your organ system. And now coming back to yoga, how when we move in specific postures, whatever you're holding in your fascia that you're mentioning, which could be holding that that specific kind of an emotion, the negative emotion, when you stretch it, when you kind of wring it, when you open it up, the flow gets created. It automatically flows out.
Circulation,
Right. Yes, circulation. Okay, we come back to the same concept then. It's circulation and free flow.
but on another level,
Yeah.
multidimensional
Yes.
circulation. It's yeah,
Right.
it is.
Nice. So but thank you so much for that, because I guess for the first time even I got the clarity to that level where I can physically actually relate to what does sanskar mean, and how how it can be kind of ironed out inside the body at the physical level.
Yeah, I mean, I love yoga so much. I have such deep reverence for the art and science of breath and yoga, asana, whole system of yoga. It is it is so powerful. But most people, especially in the West, they're like, "What? Yama, yama, like what?" They can't.
I know. I know.
Meditation has been like the modern language of transformation that I've been able to use to basically apply the principles of yoga to this modern day.
Which is beautiful, because that's where if you're physically you're feeling good, automatically whatever builds on top of it is automatically positive and beautiful, whether it is your mind, your emotional health, or your own connect with your own self. So
And all
that's
one.
very beautifully put across.
Thank you. We have to look at our food. We have to look at our nourish, how we're nourishing our bodies. We have to look at what we're doing with our bodies, and with
Right.
level, how engaged and present are we? And then we have to check in with our heart and our mind to make sure that we're not sabotaging or
Mm-hmm.
on a rabbit hole of sorts that isn't productive. So those 3 things, when they're combined, are really going to catapult you into a next level health.
That's exactly true. And I guess that brings us to joining all of these things together, where I actually wanted to, put across this concept from an expert like you, where how when physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual, everything comes in alignment is where you become ageless, is where, you're no more bothered about your skin health or your hair health or your body health. It is automatically taken care of. You just need to align yourself with those laws of nature that we're talking about.
Yeah, and I don't know that it's not that we don't think about it. It's just that it's integrated, and that
Yes.
it's a place of love. And I know that when I'm eating these fats, it's going to my hair and
Mm-hmm.
my, when I'm thinking these positive thoughts, it's going to the light in my eyes.
Consciousness,
Yeah, so
awareness. Yeah.
it's not that we're not thinking about these things. It's just that we're thinking about them with like, if imagine if you're looking at yourself through God's eyes,
Mm-hmm.
and that you are love, and it is love, and it all is looked at through the lens of love. So you're looking at your,
Right.
I love my hair. Yeah, okay, maybe I want it to be a little thicker here, or maybe it
Mm-hmm.
just not right over there. But like, oh, I love my hair.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, hair.
That changes the entire attitude and the feeling and how you look at yourself and the world also. I guess it's all that
And then
integrated to that level. Yeah.
people are just reflecting back to you what you
Yes.
are reflecting. So if you're coming from love, then you're going to get love.
Exactly.
Uh, and so it's really all about love. Love is the answer, and
Mm-hmm.
that comes through the acceptance and forgiveness.
Nice. That's really so beautifully put across, Jennifer. I'm just loving that conversation with you, but I'm, short in time. But for sure, I will be planning future sessions with you for sure on specific topics. As I told you initially, also one session with you is not enough. I mean, it's you have so much to speak about different concepts of health. So my last question to you is going to be again coming back to the foods and the physical or the practical side of it. What would be some favorite food and yogic practices that you would recommend to all the listeners, specifically wanting to clear up their skin or wanting to have some changes felt at the body and mind level?
So definitely eradicating flour and sugar from your diet is extremely important. And then filling
Mm-hmm.
up those gaps with an abundance of fresh fruits and vegetables. So you want to have
Mm-hmm.
abundance of color, abundance of deep green and red and orange. You want to have an
Mm-hmm.
abundance of fresh fruits and vegetables and seeds and some nuts, right? So you want to think about seeds, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some seeds, pumpkin seeds, hemp seeds, flax seeds. Like these are all going to be, contributing to your health. And of course, the fiber, which we haven't even talked about. Fiber is
And
so.
just to add on to that, I'm sorry, I'm cutting you there, but this is for the listeners. Jennifer is a great proponent of nut milks, and just check out her recipes. They are just amazing. I mean, they look so tempting just looking at them, just want to make all of them all together.
They are so delicious. You can get
Yeah.
so creative with sesame milk, super high in calcium for women. We
Hmm.
need an iron.
Right.
Lately I've been making basically almond milk lately, but Brazil nut
Hmm.
milk, my goodness. Then you can make these lattes and ice
Yes.
cream. Oh my gosh, it's just never ending. Gotta have cream,
Yes, I
cream.
know. But that I believe that needs a different level of understanding of foods to get onto that level of cooking with all these plant-based ingredients. I mean, I think I'm on that path, still not there, but yeah, I think I'll keep following you and just trying to practice a lot of stuff that you keep doing for sure.
Yeah, keep trying
Yeah,
things. That's what I've been
yeah, I
doing
know.
for years.
Great.
It's really important for everyone to figure out where you are on your movement
Mm-hmm.
path, right? And everyone's going to be in a different place. Like
Mm-hmm.
maybe you're going for a walk every day, which is great. If you're going for a minute walk, increase it to 12 minutes. We have to always be aware of kind of where that edge is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, really need to push it a little bit. So
Mm-hmm.
that's also
Right.
comfort zone. So we're expanding always into areas that are not normal, comfortable, predictable. So it's really important to be aware of where those edges are. So
Mm-hmm.
if you're practicing yoga for an hour and you're always doing the same sequence, maybe add some new asanas. And so
Right.
be aware and present of where you are and what you can do to constantly grow and increase. And sometimes for high performing people, it can be
Mm-hmm.
doing, right? So if
Right.
you're hardcore and you're doing like 3 hours a day, or you're just, kind of always managing an injury, then that probably means you need to do less. So it's just
Mm-hmm.
this, but every day it's something, right? Even if
Right.
you're well, you have an injury, deep breathing,
Mm-hmm.
visualization, right? So there's never a time where we can create an excuse of not doing.
That's
Um,
right.
we're always being, right? So that's the most important thing, to look at how you're
Mm-hmm.
being, who you're doing. But it's very important that we don't start to go into excuses or any kind of victim mentality. Oh, well, my
That's
husband,
right.
or oh, my kids don't like it. Mm-mm. The only
Mm-hmm.
person they view as you. And you have to take full accountability and responsibility for how you're living your life and the choices that you're making for your health and your life.
Right. That's right. So thank you so much, Jennifer. I guess that was a lovely, lovely information from your end. I think I'll be live for another 2 to 3 minutes just to see if there are any questions coming in from any of the joinees. In the meantime, I would just hand it over to you to just end the session with something that you think you would wanted to have said, but I may have missed on asking you.
My goodness, your questions were excellent. I feel really complete in what I've shared today. And I do believe there's so much more to share. And I just want to encourage people to remember who you are,
Mm-hmm.
who your mom wanted you to be, or your sister thinks you are, or whomever, who you actually are at your core. Remembering who you are and loving who you are at your core is so important on this path that we're on in this lifetime. Because you are unique. Everyone has their unique voice, their unique imprint, their unique energy. And we're meant to be here for a reason. And remembering who you are helps you to feel more purposeful, more powerful, more complete. And it's a really big gift you can give to yourself and to humanity at this time, to remember who you are and the power, the grace, and the glory of that.
That's true. Great, Jennifer. I guess we don't have any questions as such, but I would just request you to just help people understand where they can find you. Like, is it your website, or we can find you on Instagram or
Jennifer,
YouTube?
yeah, Jennifer-Helene.com is my website. You can always find my email address there. On Instagram, it's Jennifer Helene with an underscore at the end. Also on Facebook, I have a private Facebook group that people can join. If you sign up for my free 7-day lifestyle plan that has the recipes, when you go to my website, that'll be a prompt immediately. If you put your email address in, you'll get information about what I'm up to, get recipes, and then also an invitation to join the private.
And that's an amazing ebook. I already have it, and it's like, it really feels good reading all of that. And I mean, it kind of comes as a refresher of a lot of things that even I'm trying to imbibe as a part of my lifestyle.
Nice. I appreciate that feedback. Yeah, so that's
Nice.
for free to all. So go ahead and go to my website, Jennifer-Helene.com, and you can get that 7-day lifestyle plan. And reach out to me. Yeah, ask me questions. Follow me. I just would love to know you and be of service in any way that I can.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Jennifer. It was really amazing talking to you. And thank you so much for accepting and coming here, because, talking to you had been so much high on my list for almost, I guess, last 8 or 9 months. And I just thought of maybe just dropping you a message and seeing if we can just connect and
so
get
glad.
to know. Nice.
You well.
Okay. Thank you so much, Jennifer. Thank you.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.